Today we have a program review that you guys have asked for ad nauseum. And this particular program is probably one of the more popular ones in the Train Heroic app. We're gonna get into it right now. What's up everyone, Jason Brown here, the king of programming. We are doing another program review of Power Athlete from John Welborn, Johnny WOD. Now, I was on their podcast not that long ago. I really respect these guys. I love what they do as far as elevating the standard in the industry, but I've never seen their program and I wanna see what they're all about. So I think you can tell a lot from someone in terms of their restraint. We've done a lot of programs now that show restraint. So I think you guys can see where we've come from doing programs where there was no restraint to programs where there's a lot of restraint. And these last few program reviews have been really, really exceptional programs, which is awesome to see because I was losing hope. I was thinking that all the programs out there, for the most part, were being negligent with people. But I definitely feel a little bit better now after seeing some of these really solid programs that we've gone through. So today, we're gonna see if Johnny WOD holds that standard. Now, when I did the trial for this, I selected Johnny WOD Light. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you just pick the hardest one? Well, I actually, being 41 years old now, I like the light version of everything. And even my own training doesn't resemble what it used to in my 30s, or definitely not in my 20s. But the reason for that is, as I've gotten older, I've seen that A, less is more, and B, that intent wins over quantity. So doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 and putting in maximal intent. And training with higher levels of intensity and not being in the gym for hours on end, being in the gym for 45 minutes and really hitting hard what I do on those days. So I think you can really do well with that style of programming if the intent is there. And so when I saw the options, they have a lot of options. I liked that it said light because me being 41, I would rather do less exercises and put in a harder level of intensity. So let's take a look at what we have here. So just at first glance, I like what I see because there is only 4 exercises. You're probably thinking, well, is that enough? Yes, it's enough if you do it the right way. And one thing we talk about with all these reviews is fundamentals. What are they? Exercise order, exercise selection, sets, reps, and rest intervals, and conditioning. Those are the fundamentals of a sound program. And now there's other things that come in, nuance that comes in that make or break a program. Things like whether or not it is structured the right way, whether it is clear to the end user. And of course, there's a lot of things that we can play to knowing that someone that's using our program is of a certain level. So this being target audience would be someone more like me that has been training for a bit, knows what's going on, but probably not looking to push the envelope in any one area, more general fitness, if you will, which kind of sounds lame when I say it out loud, but it's not. I think that there's a lot of people that fit into that level. If you're someone that fits into that box, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and know that I'm not alone out here. A lot of the people that do train with me tend to be very similar to my own place in this fitness world, if you will. I like that there's only 4 exercises. Let's take a look at what we got. We got back squat, movement 1. I'm happy to say there is a rest interval. I've done some programs in Train Heroic now that had no rest intervals, and I started to think, is it a problem? Am I doing something wrong on my own app, or am I missing something? And the short answer is no, I wasn't. There is a very clear place and you guys can see it. Back squat, work up to a heavy triple, rest 2 to 3 minutes rest. I would argue you probably could rest 3 to 4, but that's personal opinion there. And I think that obviously there is some research to support resting even longer. The question is if you want to work up to a heavy triple, how long do you really need to rest to achieve that? This might be against the grain, but I think sometimes going on the lower, like he has here, 2 to 3 minutes, might save someone from building to a true 3 RM, which might remove some wear and tear on their body. I know that's probably an unpopular viewpoint, but the fact that the rest interval is there, the fact that it is a decent amount of rest is good. So we're already off to a really good start here. I like that. Movement number 2 is seated dumbbell shoulder press, heavy set of 8, rest 2 to 3 minutes. I like it. And then we've got Russian swing and assault bike. Oof, brutal combo. And we're essentially doing 10 reps in 60 seconds and then followed by assault bike for 10 cals for 60 seconds. Get 10 calories in 60 seconds, then go back to swings. So I'm guessing, based on what I see here, that this is like an AMRAP. You will get 10 minutes of each with 100 swings and 100 calories. Oof, brutal combo. Definitely very anaerobic. I'm not sure what the rest interval is here, but I don't want to spend all day trying to look at this. I think overall, this is a very well-structured day. And if I read through this, complete 10 swings in 60 seconds. So I would guess you're resting the remainder of the time. 10 swings can take you about 10 seconds. So you rest 50 seconds. Is it enough rest across 10 minutes or I guess 10 rounds, if you will, to be anaerobic? You know, probably, but you could definitely benefit if this was something like 10 swings, 10 cal, and then rest 3 to 4 minutes. You could definitely tap into more capacity of the phosphorus system, probably more towards glycolytic, but you know, not to get too sciencey on you guys. I think that, you know, energy systems as a whole is very much misunderstood, but it doesn't have to be. So overall, very solid day. So here's my feedback though. We've got sort of a full body day. We've got a squat pattern, a press pattern, we got a hinge pattern, but there's no upper pull pattern. So I would like to see an upper pull pattern. I think seated press, superset it with a row pattern or pull-up pattern, and you're good to go. You check all the boxes on being a full body day. Now, as we get into the next day, they might reveal to me that the reason why there is no pulling here, and let's find out. So day 2 of Johnny Wad is 1 set of 30 deadlift. I want 1 heavy rep every 30 seconds for 15 minutes. I like that. I like that a lot. The question is the intent speed or is it load? I'm looking at it's probably load. Are we gonna be able to achieve that? Doing a set every 30 seconds? Probably not. Someone that's super strong, are they gonna go to near max? Probably not, but maybe that's not the intent of the day. Overall, I think this is, you know, you hear the word WOD, you're definitely assuming there's gonna be a lot more CrossFit people, which I think that's their target audience. So I think overall, that's definitely a very creative way to do things, and creativity is definitely an important part of having a good program. Okay, number 2 and 3, this is a superset pull-up. So I just mentioned we want upper pull on day 1. Well, he's got upper pull on day 2, so he's definitely getting some priority with that stuff here with a lateral med ball throw, which I really like that as well, plyometric movement, but it looks like he's doing it for more repetition work. Is there a rest interval? Is there a rest interval? There's no rest interval. We know that he knows how to put it in the rest intervals. I would like to see one here. And then we're culminating the day with a dumbbell WOD where we're using dumbbell hang power clean with a 100-yard shuttle run, and it's done for 4 rounds. I really like that. Okay, the only thing I would like to see is the rest interval. Okay, in this particular case, I would say we're probably resting 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how hard the effort is. But overall, this day, we've got a hinge, we've got an upper pull, we've got, you know, obviously a conditioning piece. You know, again, so I'm after we see this whole program across the week, it's gonna be easier to tell what is actually going on. Day 3 is a rest day. Personally, I like to see something there. Maybe some low intensity aerobic work would be a good fit there. Let's look at the next day. We're getting into more pressing. So this day has a press pattern, has a lunge pattern, has a thruster, which is a squat into a press, box jump. Again, conditioning piece to end each day for time. This really isn't a full body program. This is definitely more of upper lower with, again, some contributing factors from full body, but I overall like this program. I think it's a really good program. Let's look at the final day of the week here. We've got a power snatch and a standing 1-arm row as a superset. So let's take a look here. Working on a heavy double, power snatch, fast and explosive. I would like to see a rest interval here. Actually, he's got resting after the rows, 2 to 4 minutes. 2 to 4 minutes, definitely a big range, but overall, I like this. Would I superset a snatch and a row? Probably not. I would want people to focus on the snatch, but maybe for this crowd that is transitioning away from Olympic lifting, we need to sneak some of that stuff in there so I can understand the logic here. And ending off with chin-ups and dumbbell power snatch. So we actually do have a fair amount of time between Tuesday and Friday. So if you want to do pull-ups on Tuesday and then chin-ups on Friday, yes, you can do it. I don't think that there's any issue there, especially for the crowd that's probably using this program. But there are some things that I would potentially like to see in this program. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid program. Let's go through the pros and cons. Pros are that it is very concise. There's not an overabundance of exercises. It's clear what we're asking. There's rest intervals. I like the exercise selection. I kind of like the structure. It's creative. It's not how I would do a full body training day. It's kind of missing some pieces, but then he brings that over into the next day. So I think the style is a unique style, and I think that it is very well done. My cons though, however, is I would like to see some aerobic conditioning in this program, especially for this crowd. I would like to see some zone 2 work. You can do that on Wednesday. It would fit really well into this program. There's definitely an emphasis on conditioning. We're doing conditioning pieces on most days of this training program, but tends to be more anaerobic. I'd like to see some aerobic work in there. And Wednesday and Saturday would be good days to do it in this program. One of the other cons of the program is that there's definitely a changing structure from day to day. I'd like to see some more consistency. This is purely me nitpicking though. I think this is a very solid program, but I have to ask the question about doing a power snatch for load supersetted with a one-arm row. Is that going to work out the way we'd want it to? If the goal is hitting a heavy load with a snatch, I probably wouldn't have another exercise in there, especially something like a one-arm row, which potentially can impact the lats and stabilization in a positive way, but I would want people to focus on that snatch. So again, these are some specific things to me. I think as far as sets, reps, and rest intervals, some of them are a little on the high side, but I think overall, this program definitely checks a lot of boxes. So with that said, this is an approved program. I'm gonna give this program an 8.7, and we'll see you on the next review.
Best program available on the internet today.
I think it's very difficult to find a trainer like Jason.
Since joining Everyday Heroes, I feel like I've stopped working out and actually started training.